Thomas Tuchel has been announced as the new England manager, and I think does he take over from this week's the Nations League, from next month's Nations League, or does he?
So I mean, he's doing a press conference as we speak, so I guess they'll have an official start date. But I think it's an exciting appointment. Obviously, he's the first German manager to ever manage England, I think.
Yeah, he's the third non-English national to manage England after Sven-Göran Eriksson and Fabio Capello. Obviously, there's been a lot made out of German coming to manage England, but I just feel like all that is just like we've moved past all that now. I think as kind of you look at managers of national teams now. You've got so many different nationals managing certain nations. You look at South America, for example. There are 10 South American countries, right? Only 3 of them have non-Argentinian managers. That's mad, isn't it? Out of 10 South American teams. You're looking at Mauricio Pochettino. He's just gone over to manage USA. You've got Roberto Martinez, who's Spanish. He's managing... who's he managing? The Portuguese team. And there's a big rivalry there. So... I think this is all kind of nonsense, to be honest. All these people coming out saying, a German shouldn't be managing England. I think it's complete rubbish. And I think it's a really good appointment, and I'm quite excited about it.
I did read a stat. I don't know if it's true, but I did read a stat that no foreign manager has ever won a World Cup.
Is that right?
With a different team, which is quite interesting to think about. And I don't know if there's something to that. But for me, obviously there's 2 ways of looking at it. Is he just another Eriksson, Capello, a manager who didn't really buy into the whole English culture, and obviously they ended up not winning anything during their times as managers, and they played kind of pragmatic football, and it was supposed to be winning football. 2 winners who came in to manage the country, and we expected big things, and it never really panned out. But I think Thomas Tuchel is a bit of a different case, in my opinion. If you look at I think Thomas Tuchel, if you look at his career...
He was playing in his playground as a Tottenham.
Exactly. First of all, he loves the Spurs. I think he's been very clear in his past of his affinity for English football, how much he loves English football. And I think that goes a long way to understanding what it means to be English manager. And I think as well, as much as Eriksson and Capello were great managers, I don't know if they were as much specialists in kind of tournaments and knockout football as Thomas Tuchel is. Thomas Tuchel is ridiculous cup manager. I think when he was at Chelsea, I'm pretty sure he got to every final that he could have got to.
Well, he won the Champions League. He got to 2 domestic finals against Klopp, who lost both of them on penalties.
Yeah.
He did win a couple as well.
I think he got to 3 domestic cup finals. I think he lost all of them. He lost to Leicester 1-0. He lost 2 on penalties to Klopp.
Well, that doesn't bode well, does it?
No, but he still got to every final, which is impressive in itself. Obviously got to the Champions League final with PSG as well.
To be fair, Southgate's got to 2 finals, though.
Yeah, true. If you remember how they lost in his last season at Chelsea, how they got knocked out, I think, in the quarterfinals to Real Madrid. But if you remember, they were 3-1 down at home, and they were winning 3-0 away from home, and it wasn't for like a last-minute moment of brilliance from Modric, and they ended up heading out. But like that was also quite impressive. You look at even at Bayern Munich last year, they were minutes away from getting through that quarter-final against Madrid, or was it semi-final against Madrid? And if it wasn't for a terrible mistake from Neuer, he just fumbles the ball and allows Madrid a last-minute equaliser. I think they probably get through that game as well. So, like
in that game, though, I did think he made a terrible tactical decision in taking off Kane and Musiala when they were 1-0 up, or when they were winning, going into the last few minutes.
Hindsight is 2020. Obviously,
I mean, I said it at the time when he made the change. Yeah, I think most people would have said that.
Yeah, but subbing Kane and Musiala didn't make Neuer drop the ball.
No, of course it didn't. But if something does happen in the game and a goal can come out of anywhere, then you've taken all your guns out of the equation.
Agreed, but I'm just saying, he managed those ties actually pretty well, kind of by and large. And I think he's an exceptional knockout tournament manager. I think he's proven that over the years during his management. He's very, very good at using the tools at his disposal and getting the best out of them, in my opinion, and also exposing weaknesses from the opposition. I think England have got a very, very good appointment. You make a good point, though. This is a manager who has lost a lot of finals, and it's not like England have any trouble at the moment getting to finals. So is there something to say that, is this the guy who's going to get us over the line? I guess the jury's out on that, in terms of, is he the guy that is literally going to make England take that final step from nearly men to achieving? And look, it's difficult to say. I mean, who is that man? And if it's not Thomas Tuchel, is there anyone else better, more capable than him on the market? Probably not.
Yeah, but you look at it, and as much as I'm saying, yeah, he has failed at multiple finals, but he's a massive step up from Gareth Southgate.
Yeah,
Tactically and as a manager, in every facet imaginable as a manager, he's a massive step up from Gareth Southgate. And if Gareth Southgate can take us to those semi-finals and that final stage on a consistent level, I have no doubt in my mind that Tuchel can actually take us that next step and actually get a trophy for England. And I want to take it back to what you're saying about his Champions League. Just let's talk about his Champions League history. Like PSG, he got to the final and lost to that Bayern team that was just rampant, that's smashing everyone. And I think it was PSG's first final in a very long... I mean, PSG had no right to get to the finals at that time. Everyone was saying, oh, PSG, they're bottle jobs and all this kind of stuff.
Did have Mbappe and Neymar.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah, it's true. They did have Mbappe and Neymar, but they were nowhere near getting to finals in previous years.
Well, they always found a way of bottling it, didn't they?
That's
somehow?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And he got them to a final, and they lost to a very, very good Bayern team, very narrowly as well,
1-0,
if I remember, on the day. Chelsea, I mean, he got that Chelsea, probably one of the worst Chelsea sides in recent history, with Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, and all these guys, and he won the Champions League with them.
Just after Lampard was sacked in midway through the season.
Yeah, and he won the Champions League with them. And then with his Bayern team, he lost to obviously a very good Real Madrid side as well, which, yeah, maybe I point to, and some people can point to some tactical deficiencies in the substitutions, but he ran Real Madrid all the way to the wire till the last minute of the game, and they were winning up until the last minute, and it was very unlucky for them to get knocked out. So if you look at his Champions League history, there is a lot of kind of situations where he's been unlucky, and he's taken teams that haven't been so good in that tournament in the past and taken them really far. So I do think there is something to say that he's an unbelievable tournament manager, and I'm very excited to see what he can bring to Tottenham. However,
England.
This is England. However, you look at the style of play under Gareth Southgate, and everyone's like, with the players that we have, we should be playing free-flowing football, we should play high-pressing football, really attacking football. Is Tuchel going to bring that?
I reckon he'll bring it more than Southgate did. Is he a Pep Guardiola? Is he Klopp? Is he one of these managers who has a philosophy where it's always beautiful and it's always about breaking down the opposition? No, but I've definitely seen his teams play good football in the past, don't get me wrong. He knows how to coach good patterns, he knows how to coach good pressing systems, but he also has a pragmatic side, and he also knows how to stifle an opposition, and he's not afraid to do it. So yes, there will be times where we are being pragmatic, but I do think we, especially with the players we've got at our disposal, he will definitely get this team playing good football. I'm certain of that. I really am.
What do we
Better
think
than under Southgate?
Let's have a think about what we think a Thomas Tuchel team will look like with the current players at disposal for England. What are we thinking? Is going to be a three at the back?
Well, that's what he did at Chelsea, but he didn't do that at Bayern, and I don't think, if I remember rightly, he didn't do that at PSG. I don't think either. So at Chelsea, he was definitely famed for that. But he actually, if I remember rightly, I don't think he started that way. But I think he just looked at the players and thought, actually, I want to turn it into a back three. So I'm looking at the England players. I don't know if he will go to a back three. I think he'll keep it in a back four, to be honest.
So do you think he'll persist with Jordan Pickford in goal? I mean, he's probably the obvious choice, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of the keepers he's had. Well, I can't remember him changing the keepers too much. Obviously, he had Edouard Mendy at Chelsea, but he inherited him. He had Neuer for Bayern. He had, who did he have for PSG? Was it Navas? Oh, Donnarumma. I can't remember who was at the time. I think it might have been Navas. But, yeah, I think, is he going to persist with Pickford? Who are the other options? Does he go Pope? Does he go Ramsdale? I mean, probably will stick with Pickford, I would assume. If he values someone with good ability on the ball, I think Pickford's probably his best bet, unless he goes to Ramsdale. But Ramsdale's not having the best time of it at the moment. So.
Yeah, I can't see him going for Ramsdale. I do think he'll persist with Jordan Pickford. I think the back four. No, I don't think it'll be too dissimilar to maybe what we've seen. I just think maybe the tactical edge that he has, maybe over a Southgate, will stand us in good stead. So it'll probably be a back four of Trent, Stones, Guehi, and who at left back? I mean,
yeah, I mean, obviously Shaw's injured. Does he go back with Chilwell, which he liked when he was at Chelsea?
We've got a real lack of left backs, don't we?
Yeah, we do. He's not afraid, I don't think, to go with to fit someone in at fullback. I think he did that quite often when he was at Chelsea. So I remember a few times he played Loftus-Cheek at fullback. I remember. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets creative for a solution there, but. I mean, Chilwell was sitting there, so he knows Chilwell well. Pardon the phrase, but
he knows Chill well.
So I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he looks back at him, but obviously he's not playing at the moment for Chelsea, so it's hard to justify his selection when he's not playing. So yeah, I don't know who he's going to play at fullback. I mean, I don't think I know Southgate played Trippier there sometimes, but I think his time is done. I mean, Trent did a good job there last game, but I think he's going to want Trent at right back.
Could potentially do Trent left back, Walker right back, or I mean, does Ben White come back into the fold? Into the conversation?
Potentially. I mean, he hasn't had a good time of it last in terms of ruling himself out of England selection. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to think about. Obviously, Reece James is there, but he's obviously had bad injury problems. He hasn't got over those yet.
And he knows him well as well.
Again, another player he knows well. But again, he was playing him a lot of like right centre-back as opposed to wing-back a lot of the time. So I think he's going to want to put Trent in there. But yeah, left-back's been a bit issue for everyone. But I think if anyone could come up with a solution, I think Tuchel's probably one of the best guys. Is there anyone like a left-footed midfielder we can make, like an Adam Wharton maybe? Something creative like that?
Surely there's got to be an English left-back like coming through, or
Reece Davis from Ipswich.
Is he English? Surely there's got to be someone at left-back that we can play there.
Mitchell?
I don't know, but he's got to work out a solution there. But in terms of moving into the midfield, where do you think he'll go with that there?
Obviously, when he was at Chelsea, I think he liked having Jorginho, Kante there. I don't think I'm trying to remember what he's like midfield.
Well, Rice is nailed on.
Yeah, obviously Rice is going to play, but then you just can pick so many players. I mean, you say Foden has to be there, Bellingham has to be there, Palmer has to be there, Saka has to be there. There's so many players.
I mean, Saka will be on the right wing for sure. I'm talking about the three in midfield.
I mean, Willie though for sure. You got Palmer there now, who's just playing so well.
Saka, he'll probably convert Saka into a wing back.
Yeah, probably. Like there is so much. Like I don't think it's even important. I don't think he's going to have a settled 11. There are too many good players to say this is going to be his 11. I think there's such a wealth of talent at his disposal. I think he's going to be able to tinker. He's going to be able to choose what 11 he has for the opposition. I don't think England will have a best 11 under him because there's too many good players to have a best 11. You can't just pick the 11 players and say, that's my team, I think.
Yeah, but you also need to find the right balance, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
And we've seen with many a team over the past that you can throw all these unbelievable players together, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. You need to find that right balance within the squad. And maybe that's what I'm trying to say here is like, what do we think is the right balance for a Tuchel side?
Well, where's he going to play Bellingham? Is it going to be further forward? Is it going to be in the 8? That's the question. Where's Foden going to fit in? Is he going to fit in? There's a lot of different questions. Obviously, alongside Rice, obviously Kobbie Mainoo's been in there a lot for Gareth Southgate. Is he a player who's going to be relied upon? Is he going to bring Adam Wharton back into the fold? There's a lot of different questions, and it's very exciting to see how Tuchel looks at things because obviously Lee Carsley tried to fit everyone, and it didn't work against Greece, albeit it was one game. Doesn't mean it's never going to work, but it didn't work in that game. Maybe you could argue Southgate is going to the other way, putting Mainoo and Rice there, and could he have been more adventurous? People argue. So it's about Tuchel finding that right balance. I don't know off the top of my head where he's going to go with it, but it's going to be interesting to see what his first lineup looks like.
For me, I would actually play. I mean, I said this before the tournament in the summer. I'd play Bellingham just that bit deeper because I feel like he can do that role. He's got an attacking mind as well. Just play him as a box to box.
It's kind of what he's doing now because he got Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo.
Exactly, that's what I would do with him. And we had conversations about it where you have other players that can step up in the forward line. It doesn't have to be just Bellingham. I know his quality is unbelievable, but we've got other players that quality unbelievable as well in those forward areas. So in the three in midfield, I would actually go Rice, Bellingham, Foden, or Rice, Bellingham, Palmer. One of those three.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what a Tuchel team is going to look like. But I think what is an interesting conversation is why people, in terms of why people are not, some people are not happy with this appointment. Is there not something to say about that? It is kind of embarrassing considering all the money pumped into English football, all the quality of the Premier League, the history of English football, and how we were the ones who started the game, and what amazing players we have. We can't find a coach that we can trust to lead our own nation who's English. Is that
I would have trusted Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe's a great manager, and I would have given him and offered him the job.
But there is a real lack, isn't there,
Yeah,
of
there are
English coaches?
massive
But
lack.
why is that? Why are we so lagging behind in coaches? It's, there's so much money in the game in England, but we can't seem to find any coaches that we really trust, that everyone's agreed could be a good English manager. I mean, after Eddie Howe, who was there? Graham Potter.
One. Yeah,
Who else is there?
There's no one.
Then
English
you're looking at
managers are
Gary
rubbish.
O'Neill all of a sudden.
Yeah.
There are really not many options when it comes to English managers. And you look at the other European nations, and there's a wealth of talent. You look at Spain. How many Spanish managers are there in the Premier League right now? There's so many Spanish managers around Europe. Alonso, Pep, Arteta. Fabregas is, I think, manager now. There are so many managers around. Italian. How many great Italian managers have there been in the Premier League? You look at England, and we're lagging behind. Why is that? And what does it say about the state of coaching in this country, that we can't seem to even think of a manager who can take the English national job?
Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it, really. I feel like maybe because England changed the way in their approach of grassroots football and their philosophy, they try to make it a bit more like Spain. I feel like maybe in the future that will breed better managers. But now the managers coming through are still of the kind of old generation. So maybe that's something to do with it. I mean, I can't really tell you exactly why. But England from grassroots level up are trying to change the whole way how they work and make it more technical. And instead of, how the English football was back in the day, it was just like, hit them early and all these kind of things and really gritty way to play football. Exactly, all that kind of thing. But now it's a lot more technical and you're seeing better players come through. And I think when you see the better players come through, or maybe later on, you'll see the better managers come through as well. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, but it is a shame, and it is, I think, a bit embarrassing that England, such a top nation, can't turn to one of their managers. But it doesn't mean just because we feel like we can't, we should just pick anyone just because they're English. And I think it's the right thing to do. If you don't think there's enough quality of someone who's English, you just go for the best man for the job and the right man. I think Tuchel is that. But I do think this is also just a symptom of where we're at in this country coaching-wise, that we feel like we have to turn to a German in Thomas Tuchel as opposed to relying on someone from our own nation because we don't feel like there's equality. And there is something a bit sad about that, to be honest.
Look, it's sad, but I just don't care if the manager is from England or not. I really don't. Like maybe 20 years ago and it would have mattered because the narratives around these things, people's feelings towards these things, I think are a lot different. But now we're sitting here in 2024. I think the world's just changed in that aspect. I think it's just changed. And I think you would have been hard pressed to see a team that didn't have a national manager with the same nationality as the country of that they're managing. But now you just see it so regularly, and I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters if we win a trophy or anything, or even if we don't. I don't think it matters in that sense, but I think it is a shame, to be honest. I think it is sad that we don't feel like there are any English managers who are capable of managing the national team, or we think are up to the job. And I think that is it's disappointing from the fact that we have so much quality in our league and in our country with in the footballing wise, that why we can't find an Englishman to manage the national team is a shame. And I think it would be better if there was an Englishman who was up to the job, because imagine winning a trophy with an Englishman in charge. I think that would probably mean more than winning it with a foreign coach.
I don't think when we're celebrating a World Cup you're thinking, oh, who's the manager, is he English, oh, it means so much more. I don't think it matters.
I think for me it would mean more, but I don't think it matters. But I think it would mean more to win it with an Englishman than a foreign coach. But I'd rather win it than not win it. So I'd rather win it with a foreign coach and not win it with an English coach, in my opinion. But I would rather win it with an English coach.
As long as the trophy comes, nothing else matters. That's the reality.
Yeah, of course, that's the main thing. I agree. But I'd rather win it with an English coach. And
yeah, that's fair enough. But if there are no English coaches, it is what it is. You said it. You need to pick the best guy who you think can deliver the trophy. There's no point pigeonholing some random England manager into the job because he's English.
No, I completely agree with that, and I think they've done the right thing. I'm just saying it's a massive shame that I'm looking at who could be contenders as an English manager, and it's just slim pickings. It really
Eddie
is.
Howe's the only one, and the only two that I'd probably want ahead of Thomas Tuchel that could have got the job is Jurgen Klopp, who's obviously just taken the job with Red Bull, so he's not available at the moment, and Pep Guardiola. I mean, apparently they did approach Pep Guardiola, but he didn't want the job. So I guess Thomas Tuchel is probably the best available.
I agree, and he's an elite knockout tournament coach as well, a League Cup competition. I think he's perfect for the job, to be honest. So,
and for people
I'm
complaining
excited.
about Tuchel getting the job, like who else would they have wanted? Like who else is available? Who else would have taken this job?
No, I agree. I think out of all the foreign managers available, he's the best one who we could have picked. I think we've got the best man for the job, and if he can't bring us the trophy, I don't know who can.
He will bring us the trophy. It's coming home, people.
Come on.
It's coming home. But that is our reaction to Thomas Tuchel being announced as the England manager. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. We'll see you next time.